What's going on, guys? We're going to jump right into it today. It is November 28th, 2025, and we have a lot to talk about. Two potential snowstorms back to back. And if you believe the 00Z Euro, we could have 3, 4, 5 storms back to back to back to back. You know what I mean. And a few of them could be targeting the East Coast, the Mid-Atlantic, New England region. Really crazy look on the 00Z of the Euro last night. So we're going to look at that. Let's take a look at the big picture. The Euro just sees tons of snowstorms here to kick off December. I can't remember a time where we had this many snowstorms lined up right after Thanksgiving. So let's go through this. As we move through today, you can actually see our polar jet is pretty collapsed into the states. Of course, it's very cold for a lot of us in the plains and out east. It's kind of chilly out west too, but the cold anomalies are out east. We're starting to get a lot of moisture forming down here as our polar jet begins to buckle to the south. And as we move forward in time and into Saturday morning and then Saturday afternoon, there's that big central to northern plains, Midwestern snowstorm, and then inner New England snowstorm moving up and out. And we're going to go over each of these in details. I just want to show you what could be ahead. This storm moves out. We get some moisture being pulled off the Gulf now, trying to link up with our collapsed polar jet. Texas, you're going to be pretty cold at this point. Lots of cold air sinking down into the southern plains here. You can kind of see where our baroclinic boundary is setting up. Now we're moving into late Monday into Tuesday morning, and suddenly we have more snow for the Midwest. And potentially, and we're still seeing it. And guys, this is only 111 hours out. So this is actually getting within forecasting range. I like to be 72 or under, but 120 hours out and under, you start doing some serious forecasting here. It's not an outlook. Again, I'm watching the I-95 corridor really here because this snow is getting very, very close to cities like DC, Baltimore, Philly, New York City, Boston, and everyone in between on the latest Euro. But guess what? You don't get snow there. We move a little bit forward. That jet is still collapsed, and the Euro gives you another opportunity for snow out near the coast there. Look at all this cold air just sinking in from the Arctic. And we continue to move forward, and there is another opportunity. This would be a true nor'easter the way these lows are moving up the Atlantic coast here. This would also be, if we were to see a collapse like this of our polar jet, I wouldn't be surprised to see temperatures 30 degrees below average down there in Florida. That would be freezing down in Florida. And then you get another opportunity here. I mean, the Euro wants to give the Mid-Atlantic and New England coast tons of opportunities for snow. I talk about you guys a lot out there, New England, Mid-Atlantic coast, because you've been in a snow drought for quite a while. We haven't seen a true nor'easter in quite a while, and this is a good setup for it. And it also looks like as we move through December, we'll have a nice negative NAO setting up. Again, we'll talk about that later as well. The point of showing you this, why I wanted to start off the video with this, is just to show you how active it could be moving ahead. We're obviously not going to believe in all of these snowstorms happening exactly like this. Once you get out too far, once you push out past 120, 160 hours, it's kind of anyone's guess, especially when you get down to a local level where the snow falls, how much snow falls. But this is active. Now I want to take a look at our snowstorm that's happening this weekend and then the early to mid snowstorm next week for the East Coast. So here we go as we go through tonight and get into tomorrow morning. This would be around 6 a.m. for us out in the plains. We have some snow likely flying through portions of the Dakotas, Nebraska. This would have dropped some good snow also in portions of Wyoming, Idaho, and Montana. We actually already have some nice snow falling up here through portions of northeastern Montana, western Montana, and then moving just to the north of Rapid City and then down towards Omaha. And it is cold enough. We are in the 20s out here. So Lincoln, Omaha, Nebraska. If you're there and you watch this video, let me know in the comments, did you get some snow this morning? Because it does look like we have some snow bands moving over that region. We have our jet kind of lined up here, so we're already getting some of that moisture forming along that baroclinic boundary, like I said. And by the way, that snow out in the Great Lakes region is still pumping. You guys are still getting some heavy bands out there. Jamestown, Youngstown, potentially Syracuse looks like it's getting some heavy bands as well right now. Of course, Western Michigan also, and the UP of Michigan. So as we push through Saturday, the snow continues to move off to the east. St. Louis, it's going to be close. If you get snow, it's likely going to be on the front end. You can see we have a little bit of a warm face trying to push up here. What this also tries to do when you have this warm air down to the south of the system, it's going to try to push a little bit of warm air into the mid layers of the atmosphere up here, trying to turn some of this into kind of a mixture, slush, sleet. You really want to be just far enough north to where you don't get that mixture, but the heaviest snow will be falling pretty close to the center of that low pressure system. By the way, do we have any college football games out here today? Because this is snow during the day. If you're watching the video, let me know. Taking a look at the GFS, you can see it dips down just a little bit farther south. This would be better snow potential for areas like Indianapolis, maybe even Cincinnati, Columbus. And then it tries to throw some of those flakes actually out towards kind of the mid-Atlantic region here and out towards New England, just a little bit closer to the coast. I don't think many of them are going to make it out to the coast. Still a little bit too warm. And don't worry, I'm going to get into the expected snow totals for both of these events, including taking a look at what the National Weather Service thinks. But let's quickly now review one more snowstorm after that moves out, and this would be as we get into early next week. You can see around Monday it begins to form, and then here we go Tuesday morning. We have another snowstorm, potentially for the Midwest. This could include more portions of the Ohio Valley, even potentially a little bit of flakes out here towards the southern plains, central plains. We're getting into Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday night, and then Wednesday morning here. So this would actually be Tuesday evening. We're getting a chance here. You're saying there's a chance. I am saying there's a chance. This is very, very, very close. You'd probably want our low pressure system a little bit farther off the coast, but that would only happen if we had our jet stream buckle, push south and east a tiny bit more, and then this could be big snow again for the I-95 corridor. But right now, if you were to just take this run at its word, it's probably going to end up being rain or slush. Now, Boston would actually in this scenario get some good back end cold that would probably drop a little bit of snow as this low pressure system moved out. Let's quickly go over what the snow totals could be from the first and then the second storm. We're going to look at the European model snow totals and then what the National Weather Service thinks. And if you hop in my live stream this morning after I post this video, we're going to look at all the different models, the short ranges. I just don't have time to fit all of that into this video. So like I said, I'll cover it in the live stream right after I post this. Starting up here in the Northern Plains, Montana looks pretty good for most of you guys, somewhere between 3 to 6 inches. You can see up here in northeastern Montana, we could see those totals a little bit higher. Wyoming not looking too bad as well, although it's going to be more sporadic. This is kind of going to be when our snowstorm is beginning to form. We don't really have a strong low pressure here. We just have moisture forming along that baroclinic zone. Moving out to the Dakotas. You look good except for northern North Dakota. You guys may miss some of the snow to the south. Obviously, southwestern North Dakota, southern North Dakota, and then north and eastern South Dakota look pretty good here with somewhere between 5 to 9 inches of snow potentially. The upper Midwest, again, is looking pretty good. This snow did shift north in the latest European here, so now it's thinking Minneapolis could receive on the high end 8 inches, on the low end 3 to 4 inches. I'm not so sure about this. We'll take a look at what the NWS thinks. The National Blend and HRRR like a little bit less. On the north side, I do think we'll see totals a little bit higher than expected in some areas just because the snow ratio is going to be so good. The colder it is, the better that snow piles up. An inch of precipitation could be equivalent to 10 inches of snow. Whereas if you're warmer and you have a worse snow ratio, an inch of precipitation may only be 2 inches of snow because you'll have a 2-to-1 ratio instead of a 10-to-1. So the temperature of the surface, the temperature from the floor to the ceiling, like I always say, does matter when it's snowing in terms of the density of the snow and how easily it piles up. The Euro loves Des Moines. You can see here really all of Iowa. We're seeing a widespread 6 inches to a foot, maybe even a little bit more. Now the Euro took that snow mostly out of St. Louis, still saying maybe an inch and a half, but we'll see what the National Weather Service thinks. I think they may put a little bit more snow into St. Louis. I don't know. I have to take a look at the latest update though. The Euro is still thinking 8 to 10 inches into Chicago is possible. You can see central to southern Wisconsin is doing pretty good, 6 inches to a foot. And the Euro actually likes northern Wisconsin as well. A lot more snow up here than most other models for northern Wisconsin. We move out to the east. It's only really putting about an inch to an inch and a half into Indianapolis, and then not putting much into Ohio except for northwestern Ohio here. And of course, Michigan is seeing some good snow. Moving up to the northeast, don't worry, this isn't the snowstorm that gives you a chance out here along the coast. It's the next one we're going to talk about. Some decent inner New England snow. A lot of this is still going to be kind of lake effect. We have some more cold air that's going to be moving in over the Great Lakes. Before we get to the NWS snowfall potential for this weekend, here's next week's storm on the Euro. That snow starts to fall out there in southern Nebraska, potentially northern or central to northern Kansas, moving through northern Missouri, out through Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan. Now let's move out towards the mid-Atlantic. The snow gets very, very close here, as you can tell. Now this would not be DC, Baltimore, Philly, New York City snow. This would be just inland. This is what happens a lot early season. Now there's still a chance this jet collapses a little bit and you do get snow up through there. But right now, again, not showing it, but it does give Boston a chance for some big snow up here. We'll see. I think it might end up being a little bit of rain on the front end and then snow on the back end. I don't think we're going to see 17, 18 inches in Boston next week. Not that it couldn't happen. It could. But right now, if this were to play out how we see it on the future reflectivity from the Euro, I do think you'd have kind of a slush in the beginning and it would be back end snow piling up, which would take away a lot of that snow total. Like I said, here's the expected amount of snowfall from the National Weather Service. Up here, Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, Nebraska, South Dakota, North Dakota. A good blanket of snow for some of you. Obviously, the heaviest snow does look to fall out to the east. Where you see these higher snow totals out to the west, a lot of that is in high elevation. Portions of North and South Dakota, you could get some good banding as the snow begins to build up, as the storm system begins to strengthen. By the way, guys, if you're looking at the light blues here, we're talking 1 to 2 inches. You get into the dark blues, we're talking 4 to 5 inches. And then as we get up to these different shades of oranges, we're talking about 6 with the lighter, 8 to 9 with the darker, and then up to a foot as you get get into this dark orange here. So the snow really starts to look impressive, as I said, as we get out towards the Midwest. Minneapolis Metro, 3.5 to 4.5 inches of snow is what the NWS thinks for you right now. A lot of the snow is going to be falling on Saturday, but it could fall through Saturday night as well, maybe into Sunday morning. It really depends how quickly this storm kind of tilts and moves off. You could have some lingering snow. Southern Minnesota, you could see a little bit more, 6 to 9 inches. Iowa's doing pretty good. Like I said, Sioux City, they have around 8 inches right now. Waterloo up to 14. Mason City, a foot. Iowa City, 13 to 14 inches. That may be on the high end, but we'll see. Cedar Rapids, 14 inches. Davenport's looking pretty good. And then as we move out a little bit further here, Chicago, the NWS is thinking about 9 inches. That's where I've been landing for quite a while now. I think it's unlikely you get a foot or more. Not impossible again, though. And I'll show you what the high end totals are from the NWS in a second. Milwaukee, maybe around 10 inches. Green Bay, we could be up there around 7. Eau Claire's getting a good amount, potentially 5 inches. And then you can see the UP of Michigan, somewhere between really 4 to 9 inches up there. Not too bad. St. Louis, 2.5 inches from the NWS. Again, more snow than what the Europeans expected. Quincy, around 5 inches. Springfield, 6 inches. Champaign, Illinois, maybe around 7 inches, according to the NWS. Some pretty good snow up here in northern Illinois. You can see somewhere between 9 inches to a foot. We get towards Indiana, Indianapolis, potentially 2 to 4 inches of snow maybe in there. Northern Indiana, we're looking more like 6 to 9 inches. Michigan looks really good, especially western Michigan. Detroit, could we see up to 6 inches? Possibly. I'm surprised by this. The National Weather Service gives Dayton, Ohio, and Columbus, Ohio, the potential for 1 to 2 inches of snow. I thought they'd keep that snow a little bit farther to the north, so we'll see about that. Again, we could have some mixing issues. Cleveland, looking pretty good around 5 inches, and then up through inner New England. You guys are already getting some good lake effect snow, but this is potentially going to be more of a 1 to 3 inch blanket up and down inner New England here. Now, what could we see on the high end? Obviously, we could see a much better blanket of snow out there through the northern Rockies and northern plains. South Dakota, we could see our totals coming up another few inches. Take a look at the high end for Wilmar, St. Cloud, and Minneapolis, Minnesota. We're talking maybe 8 to 10 inches of snow if, again, you have a little bit more moisture, depending on what happens with the track and the speed of this storm. Moving down to southeastern Minnesota, Rochester, Albert Lee, we're talking about maybe a foot of snow on the high end. Iowa would get decimated here with snow. Des Moines, 17 inches. Iowa City, 20 inches. Davenport, 22 inches. Waterloo, 18 inches. Dubuque, 20 inches. I mean, tons of snow on the high end. Chicago, what's your high end snow? Maybe up to 21 inches. Pretty crazy. Milwaukee, 21 inches. Green Bay, 18. Madison, 19. Up there in Eau Claire, maybe a foot of snow. Again, guys, this is a high end, so don't expect this. But there are some times where the models don't account for how cold the air actually could be, which brings up your snow ratio or how much moisture is there or the speed of the storm again. So you have a lot more moisture falling at a better snow ratio for a longer period of time. It's always possible. St. Louis on the high end, 6 inches if you have a good day, if you're a snow lover out there. Indianapolis, look at that, 8 inches, tons of snow out here. Across Michigan, Grand Rapids, 18, 19 inches if you get the high end. And then we're getting tons and tons and tons of snow out here up through New England. And it really thinks on the high end, you could actually get a flurry of snow out here. DC, Baltimore, Philly, and maybe even New York City. Just a flurry if we get the high end and we get some of that snow pushing out towards the coast. And by the way, Ohio, Dayton, 4 inches on the high end. Columbus, maybe 3.5. Mansfield, maybe 6 inches. So Cleveland, 8 inches. So the high end is actually looking pretty good. Detroit, about 8. Toledo, around 6.5, 7. And of course, northwestern Indiana, Gary out towards South Bend, would get slammed with snow. We're talking 17 to 20 inches. High end, don't expect these totals, but it's a possibility for some of you. Before I wrap up this video, I just want to go over a few things. Temperature anomalies moving forward. Obviously, we're cold out east. We get a little bit of warmth ridging down there in the southeast, potentially Georgia, South Carolina, Florida, but another blast of cold air moves in, shoves all of that warm air off the east coast, and we're very, very cold again out east. Still a little warm out west. Eventually, the southeastern ridge does get crushed on the Euro, and we're cold really from coast to coast here. A little bit of warmth down here in the southern plains and southwestern region. We continue to move forward. Another blast of cold air out there for the east, and more cold air for the east, and more cold air for the east, and more cold air for the east. Do you guys get the trend? Are you picking it up now? This is exactly what we've been talking about for a couple months. And by the way, taking a look at our European extended ensemble 30-day 500 millibar height anomaly, that's always a mouthful. Check out how our jet stream wants to set up out here. This would be fantastic for the east, and I said it last video, for the potential for some good snow along the coast leading up into Christmas. It's tough to get it, but with a pattern like this, you can get it leading up into Christmas. This is favoring cold air out east. You could actually get some good cold air out west too. We might be a little bit warm up in the Pacific Northwest though. This isn't the temperature anomalies, but again, if you have a little bit of ridging out here, it's going to try and keep that warmth up in the Pacific Northwest. By the way, if you're out along the East Coast, this is the latest from our European weeklies. This is our North Atlantic oscillation. Huge drop. This thing goes very negative with the latest European extended ensemble leading right into Christmas time. This is great for winter storm setups. This is an extended ensemble, European weekly, but still good sign. We're still seeing that MJO phase 8 setup as well. So it's looking really, really good for the East for cold and snow through December, and especially as we lead up into Christmas. I appreciate you guys watching this video. If you like this type of content, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. I post videos like this every single morning, and as soon as I post them, I hop on live stream to answer all of your weather related questions. And if you want to become a member of the Climate Crew, the link to my Discord is right down in the description. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video or in the live stream.